sign. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those same sign. Motion carries. One abstention. Any special requests or continuances?
None.
I'm sorry. I didn't say that. Okay.
Would you like to have a conversation about the length of the agenda?
Okay, any old business? Old business from the floor. Under new business. PC 2021-103 Peterman expansion easement vacation. Chad Peterman requests a recommendation to the Common Council regarding vacation of 2 plotted egress and easements. Who's here to speak for that? Is it they online?
I'm online. Randy Richter. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So what we've got is we've got a development that will actually, I think what we're doing is making the situation better. There's a
Mr. Richter, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Can you state your address for the record, please? Sorry.
Yeah, 7384 Business Center Drive, Avon, Indiana, 46123. I'm the engineer of record for Peterman Heating and Cooling.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for the interruption.
That's all right. So we've got 2 vacations. We've got 3 lots as part of the Precedent South Center, Business Center. And so I'll talk about lots 3E and 3F first. So we've got an adjacent drive that's across the Graham Road, which is to the east. So we wanted to align those drives. So what we're asking for is to have the current line vacated so that we can put this reduced ingress egress easement so that it's aligned with the adjoining property to the east on Graham Road. It also adjoins with the drive that goes up to the Peterman property on lot 3G to the west. Between lots 3D and 3E, we've got outdoor storage that is proposed up to the property line of what is currently lot 3E. So we really can't have a ingress egress easement between where we've got it proposed, which is basically the building setback line for Graham Road to the west adjoining properties. So we've asked to reduce that so that it comes in only to the building setback line, which is a 90-foot building setback off of Graham Road.
All right, anything else?
I think that summarizes what we're looking to do. If you guys have any questions, I mean, sure, shoot them at me.
All right. So I'll open it up to the commission. Any questions? Comments? Seeing none. There's been a motion prepared for this vacation. Motion. Yeah, there's two requests there.
Or you could approve or you could deny it. So you have 2 alternatives.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, in regards to PC 2021-103, motion to recommend to the Common Council the vacation of ingress egress easements, block 3, replat lots 3E and 3F, Precedent South Business Center, section 1. I move to find the vacation of the platted 30-foot ingress egress easement along the eastern boundary of line of lot 3F, a platted 30-foot ingress egress easement along the western boundary line of lot 3E, and a portion of the platted 30-foot ingress egress easement along the boundary line of lot 3D and lot 3E in block 3, Precedent South Business Center, section 1 in the city of Greenwood as proposed would not hinder the growth or orderly development of the city of Greenwood or of the neighborhood in which it's located or to which it is contiguous. 2, make access to the property by means of public way difficult or inconvenient. 3, hinder the public's access to a church, school, or other public building or place. 4, hinder the use of a public way by the neighborhood in which it is located or to which it is contiguous. Nor 5, adversely affect the health, safety, or welfare of the general public or delivery of services to the public. That the Advisory Plan Commission recommend that the 30-foot platted ingress easement along the northern boundary line of Lot 3F and the southern boundary line of Lot 3E, and the portion of the platted 30-foot ingress egress easement along the boundary line of Lot 3D and 3E be vacated as proposed, and to authorize the president to execute and deliver a memorandum regarding these findings and this recommendation to the common council in the commission's behalf.
On the second, and I think quick correction on John. I think on your opening,
Oh, in the early part, the western?
right? I think you meant northern.
Yeah,
boundary of
Northern and southern. I think that's what he's thinking.
southern.
That in the first portion, I got it corrected in the second portion, yeah.
So it's northern and southern.
And southern.
All directions, the first reference should be northern and the second reference should be southern.
So I had a motion by Mr. Shaw and a second.
Johnston.
All right, motion by Mr. Shaw and a second by Mr. Johnston. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. Right eye. All those not in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries. Been a long day, sorry. Okay, so next order of business is PC 2021-102, Peterman Landscape Waivers. I assume, Mr. Ricker, you're doing this as well?
I am.
Okay, we have your address for the record, so proceed.
Okay, so we've got 2 landscape waivers that we're requesting. The first one is for the perimeter parking lot landscape trees. We've kind of got limited area around where the parking lot and how the site's arranged. So what we're wanting to do is take those trees that we can't plant in the perimeter and plant those in another area.
Okay.
And I think most of the majority of the trees, we've got some that are in the perimeter, some along the western boundary, and we've accommodated that the best we can.
So from staff standpoint, this Peterman site is a little bit unique. It was platted many years ago, and it has commitments to follow the old I-65 overlay. However, in the meantime, we've adopted a brand new zoning ordinance. So they essentially have 2 landscape ordinances to follow. Now, in most cases, in the vast majority of the cases, they've been able to work with staff, go to the higher standard, make it work. However, in a couple areas, primarily the foundation plantings and the parking lot perimeter on the street side, they're kind of running out of space. They are required to have a 30-foot green belt that we no longer require in the ordinance.
Okay.
But that is a commitment. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the parking lot perimeter, because with the 2 of them there together, we end up with honestly so many plantings that they won't survive.
Okay.
So they are taking the plantings that they have room for and bringing them to the building face.
Okay.
Now, the way the site is designed, they do want to reduce that perimeter landscape on the building to 7 feet. Still, I believe it was 7 feet to still be acceptable for plantings to survive. But the thought behind that was there is a 30-foot green belt now that will be heavily landscaped they'll have landscape in front of the building. The foundation landscape is a requirement of the new ordinance, not the old ordinance. And since it's part of the new ordinance, they can actually ask for a waiver from this board, because they can only ask for waivers of the new requirements because it's not a commitment. So that's kind of how all these puzzle pieces came together to put their two landscape ordinances into one. And with that, staff is favorable to what they're proposing.
Yeah, okay. Any questions, comments? Ms. Walker?
Yeah, I had one question. The site plan, is that the indication of where the trees will be planted? Or is that, what is that really showing?
I need to refresh my memory which one is in the staff report.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at, the staff report.
Yeah, this is the correct landscape plan. This is what they would actually be installing.
So they're just setting those trees back off the road?
So if you look at the street side, that's the 30-foot green belt. Typically, we would require street trees and a 5-foot strip around the parking lot to be landscaped. So this would be in excess of our current standard.
Yeah.
However, because we do require that perimeter parking landscape, they're moving what they can up next to the building where there's space. And because of the green belt, they're asking to shrink the foundation requirements, which didn't exist in the overlay, so that they can kind of make all these puzzle pieces fit together.
Just looks like a lot of trees.
Which is why staff is favorable towards the waiver, because if we, where would we have more?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Dunn?
I would like to know how many trees and shrubs we're talking about being relocated, because of, it's not put in the approval part of our passing this tonight. When it, somewhere in a year down the road, when it's complete, they can say, yeah, we moved them, but we don't know how many they're supposed to move, and they put 10 in rather than 30. So I'd like to know exactly how many trees were and shrubs combined that they're going to relocate to this green area, so we can make sure that they are being planted.
Randy, do you have that number at your fingertips?
Yeah. In our request letter, we've got 69 shrubs and 6 trees that will be relocated from the parking lot perimeter to the building foundation due to limited space.
Is that part of the stipulations for us passing that, Dale, or one of the?
Yes, we're fine with it as it is designed, so
Okay. I
that
just want to make sure it's included where it's doesn't slip away.
that quantity is acceptable.
Okay, anything else?
I'm done.
Good. All right, any other questions, comments? Then a motion prepared.
Mr. President, in regards to PC 2021-102, motion to approve request of Peterman Heating and Cooling for a waiver from the landscape requirements regarding front yard landscaping along the foundation facing a street.
Or perimeter parking lot right now, right?
According to the list, this is.
The foundation's number 1.
Okay.
Go ahead. Proceed.
I move that the request of Peterman Heating and Cooling for a waiver of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Article 25, Division 3, generally applicable regulations, C 10-03-06, landscaping and buffering, G, foundation plantings. It specifies that properties over 25,000 square feet shall have a minimum 15-foot wide landscaping strip along the full length of the foundation facing the street to permit an 8-foot wide landscaping strip along the full length of the foundation facing Graham Road, and the relocation of 7 feet of the required plantings to the required 30-foot corridor green belt be approved, and that the Planning Commission find the Peterman Heating and Cooling has met the criteria set forth by Greenwood Municipal Code, Section 10-04-05I, for the waiver for the reasons set forth in its request for waiver and as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shell and second by Monica. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And the second request.
Mr. President, again in regards to PC 2021-102, a motion to approve request of Peterman Heating and Cooling for a waiver from landscaping and buffering regulations regarding perimeter parking lot plantings. I move that the request of Peterman Heating and Cooling for a waiver of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Article 25, Division 3, Generally Applicable Regulations, Section 10-03-06, Landscaping and Buffering, J, Parking Lot Landscaping, 2, Perimeter Parking Lot Landscaping, A and B, that specifies a minimum 5-foot wide landscape area with continuous rows of shrubs and a minimum of 1 tree and 3 shrubs per 35 feet of lineal planting at the perimeter of the parking lot located along Graham Road to permit relocation of 69 shrubs and 6 trees. Should that be 69?
No, 69 shrubs and 6 trees.
Okay. To the building foundation be approved and that the Plan Commission find that Peterman Heating and Cooling has met the criteria set forth by Greenwood Municipal Code, Section 10-04-05I for the waiver for the reasons set forth in its request for the waiver and as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shell, second by Monica. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Richter.
Thank you. Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
You too. All right. Next order, PC 2021-077, Big B landscape waiver. Big B Coffee requested landscape waiver of section 100306 foundation planning to relocate the 10-foot foundation planning closer to Marlin Drive. Who will be presenting this evening, please? Anybody online? If you are, you're on mute.
Yes, and Mr. Busick is the petitioner.
Okay, you're on mute, Mr. Music.
Oh, hello.
There you are.
There you
Can you
are.
hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Catlin Music, and it's 7202 Moultrie Drive, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Go ahead, proceed, please.
Yeah, we have the variance form for the landscaping where we have the wheelchair access up to our building. We're supposed to have the landscaping there. And I have Michael Cox on the call too. I don't know if he has more details into the plans of that, but we're just asking for the variance to not have the landscaping on the ramp itself.
So they're reducing the plantings.
I'm here also, Biggie, but I
Okay.
think Michael Cox, I was trying to go with that, I think he's got some technical difficulties.
Okay. Can you give us a further explanation?
Yeah. I'm
Come up here to the
seeing-
podium in the microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
And I need you to state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Sammy Bracken, 4725 Hannah Crossing Drive, Plainfield, Indiana, 46168. I think what Michael was trying to do is by pushing that out to give us a little bit of buffer. It is a modular IU industrialized unit building, so we just needed to get that landscaping the way it's designed. It's exactly a modular building that will be coming in and dropped into position. So we needed that position away to give us that buffer between the Marlin Drive just for safety. We're trying to keep that landscaping. We just need a little bit of room away from the building for that.
Okay, with the landscaping that be put in afterwards?
Yes. I believe that's what he was saying.
So, Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
So Big D is putting in a small coffee shop in the outlot of Meyer, which is our next item on the agenda.
Okay,
Meyer wants to do 2 outlots next to the Golden Corral. This is one of them. So this is on the eastern edge of Meyer's existing parking lot. This will be on the actual parking lot, not on the drive itself. So this will front Meyer's internal north-south drive there.
gotcha.
And then this other building that we'll be talking about in the next item, that they're working on, they have worked out how all this access will work. Anyway, the matter at hand is we require foundation plantings on the front facade of new buildings. They want to move that foundation landscape to the other side of this paved area, which is going to function as an ordinary area, patio, like it's an outdoor space for them. So by moving the landscape to the other side of the patio, it also serves as a buffer for them from that internal drive. So with that, staff's favorable towards their request.
That's that 25-foot area. on the
Yes.
backside.
179 square feet of outdoor seating.
It's not a lot.
Okay, that makes sense. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, there is a motion.
Mr. President, in regard to PC 2021-077, motion to approve request of Big D Coffee for a waiver from the landscape requirements regarding front yard landscaping along the foundation facing the street. I move that the request of Big D Coffee for a waiver of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Article 25, Division 3, Generally Applicable Regulations, Section 10-03-06, Landscaping and Buffering, G, Foundation Plantings, that specifies that commercial properties under 10,000 square feet shall have a minimum 10-foot wide landscaping strip along the full length of the foundation facing the street to permit relocation of the landscaping strip from the building line to an area between patio seating and Marlin Drive be approved, that the Plan Commission find that Big B Coffee has met the criteria set forth by Greenwood Municipal Code, Section 10-04-051 for the waiver, for the reasons set forth in the request, in its request for waiver and as presented.
That would be 10-04-05I.
Oh, did I say one? I was reading ahead, sorry.
That's right.
What he said.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shell, second by Mr. Walker. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Good luck. Thank you. Next order of business is PC 2021-111, lots 7 and 8. Meyer, this is a primary plat, so there will be a public hearing. It'll be 15 minutes for the petitioner, 15 for the remonstrator, and 5-minute rebuttal for each. Need the presenter to state their name and address for the record, please.
I'm on Zoom here. My name's Andrew Barcosi with Meyer Surveying. We're located at 4800 West Smith Valley Road, Suite 0, Greenwood, Indiana 46142. This kind of ties into the, here, I'm going to share my screen here for a second. Hang on. So can you guys see that there? Okay, so this ties into the last project as well, as Dale was saying there. This is Meyer Parking Lot located there on State Road 135, and what the primary plat is proposing is 2 new outlots, as shown on this beacon aerial here, lots 8 and lot 7. They'll be just south of the old Golden Corral building. The Big B coffee shop that was just in the last presentation will be on lot 7. And lot 8 is a commercial site that we are working on right now. It's going to be probably a restaurant with a couple of strip center opening tenants. And we've been working with Greenwood on that. The Big B site on lot 7 is actually already moving through with commercial plans. So we've addressed most of the staff's comments. The last was adding a ingress egress for a path walkway from the Big B site to the sidewalk on Marlin Drive. It's kind of hard to see here, but I was able to get the geometry for it and was able to add that. So this is kind of the generic layout for the primary plat. And this is similar to what the final plat will look like for the 2 lots here. I will say that we probably will end up splitting both of these sites up on 2 different secondary plats, just due to their timelines are not quite matching up. So that's really about it. If you guys have any questions, be more than happy to answer them.
Forgot to swear in. Yeah, Stevie, we need to swear him in and he can confirm what he said is.
Okay, do you swear no penalties for perjury, testimony about gives true to the best of your knowledge?
Mr. Bokosi?
Sorry about that. Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about the. All right, so anybody to speak against this? Please confirm that what the testimony you gave was to the best of your ability.
I do.
Was true and to the best of your ability. Thank you. Anybody to speak against this? Anybody online? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any questions or comments?
I've got a question, probably for staff. With proposed lots 6 and 7, and we've already installed a tire store at the south end of the lot. Where do we stand on the number of parking spots for the Meyer?
We did do a calculation for the total parking, and they still are over their minimum, even with removal of these areas. So they'll still be good.
Okay, thank you. My only question.
Nothing is to be done with the Golden Corral. That's still gonna be a vacant building and
For now,
for
yes.
whatever.
This is inside that drive, runs to the south of.
Yeah, the Golden Corral is a different parcel, different owner, so Meyer is doing this.
Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, there's been a motion.
Sure.
Mr. President, in regard to PC 2021-111, motion to approve the primary plat. I move to approve the proposed amended primary plat submitted by Meyer Surveying on behalf of Big B Coffee PC 2021-111 to create lot 7 and lot 8 in Meyer Commercial Subdivision, subject to the 2 conditions of the Technical Review Committee, because it complies with the subdivisions division of the Unified Development Ordinance, and to direct the president to sign in the commission's behalf the notice of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat as prepared by the planning director.
Motion by Mr. Shell and second by Mr. Walker. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Vote 1.
Me.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. 8-1. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. All right, next order of business, PC 2021-109, UDO definitions and amendments. I assume Mr. Davis,
Yes,
you
I'll be presenting
speak
that.
to that. Go ahead, please.
Do you swear no penalties for perjury, the testimony about gives true to the best of your knowledge?
I do. So when we brought the last round of UDO amendments in, we, well, afterwards, we've been thinking about our animal uses. And how to regulate those. Our definition of animal cultivation involved the sale or or slaughter, which isn't necessarily what we were intending. It wasn't supposed to be tied to sale, it was supposed to be tied to the animals. So we have reworked those definitions to state for animal cultivation, keeping, breeding, birthing, or raising of animals other than pets. We further define pets as the animals that are defined by the USDA, the Plant Health Inspection Service. So we also, as we're working through this, notice we have two definitions for accessory structure. So we would like to strike both of them and define accessory structure in the way that we defined it in the ordinance amendments that were passed in October. So that does mention the detached garages, the accessory dwelling units, pool houses, sheds and barns. So the main intent is to be able to enforce regulations regarding animal cultivation, because the sale made that very difficult to enforce, and to define accessory structure a little bit more clearly. In terms of our criteria, this will not affect the comprehensive plan. It will not change any current conditions or character. It does not affect the uses of the lands. It does not increase their value. And it is part of responsible growth to upkeep our ordinances. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and this is an ordinance, so I can do so after the hearing.
It's a public
That's-
hearing.
yeah.
Anyone else that would like to speak?
Anybody else want to speak to or against this? Before questions and comments? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Okay, open it up for questions and comments to Mr. Davis.
So it says on item B, it says, or raising of animals other than pets. So if a guy has a farm and he wants to have some cows, is that allowable?
Well, it's all based on where the animal cultivation is allowed. So if you have an agricultural property, you can continue raising and selling. Yeah, that completely allowed.
Or hogs?
So if it's an agricultural property, this doesn't necessarily affect you. It does in how it's defined, but it's not something that would suddenly become a violation for your use. Yes.
Pork growing.
You never know, I mean, barbecue. Nice, I just wanted to ask, because I thought that might be the case.
Yes, this just ties to the use table. We're not changing how that impacts any other zones, but where it would impact you is if you are in a residential medium zone and want to have the hogs there, that would not be allowed, whether they're a personal for their sale, they just wouldn't be allowed.
For residential.
Correct.
License a pet, Bob.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I might have
Any others? None?
And I remind you of the statutory criteria you are to pay reasonable regard to in making your recommendation to the Common Council. 1, the comprehensive plan, 2, the current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district. 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted. 4, the conservation of property values throughout Greenwood and responsible development and growth.
With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, in regards to the UDO text amendment, I move that the petition to amend the text of the Unified Development Ordinance and Greenwood Municipal Code 1993 is amended, Chapter 10, Section 7, glossary, to delete multiple definitions of accessory structure, to clarify the definition of animal cultivation, and to add the definition of pets as set forth therein, receive a favorable recommendation from the commission to the Greenwood Common Council and that the same be certified to the Greenwood Common Council in the form presented.
Second. Motion by Mr. Shell and second by Mr. King. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One opposed.
One, I'm sorry, Mr. Walker's opposed. Okay. Any new business from the floor? Seeing done, any announcements?
As is standard for us, we do not have our second meeting in December. So we will see you all the second Monday, 10th, January 10th.
I will comment that since I ask every meeting, Woodsville Road is very nice. And, right?
Substantially, yes.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
still gonna be some cleanup things.
there was, but
Yeah.
I mean, I remember originally you said that we'd only have the binding course and we'd get the top course.
Right.
That was all done.
Yeah, there was good weather,
Yeah.
summer, kind of early fall, really most of the fall, they were able to get the surface later on. It was really just the
Looks
last
great.
couple of weeks when it started causing issues.
So, looks great. Any other announcements, comments? Merry Christmas, everybody.
I move we adjourn. The reason I
Meeting
said
adjourned.
something, I was